Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Students, in this video, we are going to start chapter 90, right, which is electricity. Start from 19.1. Right, the first part of this chapter is about the electricity. A basic idea about the electricity, right? If you consider the electricity, you can see two types of electricities, right? First is static electricity. The second type is current electricity. Right? The term itself, this is introducing you the static, the term static. Here you have the current, right? Normally, the term static is used to something which is immobile, right? If something is not moving, right, we are using the term static. Then this type of electricity is depend on something which is not moving, right? And the next part, this is current. Normally we are using the current, right? The term current to flow something, right? It's if it is happening ongoing, right? Then we are calling it as current. Currently, what you are doing, the terms that we are using in our speech, right? Now, then this electricity is depend on something that is moving, right? Then this electricity is depend on something which is not moving, right? Here the electricity is depend on something which is moving, right? Then, first of all, before we understanding the static electricity and the current electricity, right? You should know by what is static. This static electricity has been considered, and by what of the movement, right? Movement of what we are considering the current electricity, right? There is something which is static because because of that without moving it, the static electricity is there, right? At the same time, if it is moving, then the current electricity is going to be considered. Then what is that, right? What is that thing? What is that substance, right? We are calling it as charge. Charges, right? There is a not it's a substance, right? There is a thing. There is a physical nature which is known as charges, which are responsible for the electricity, right? We don't have the great detail about the charges, right? A little knowledge is there in your syllabus, right? First knowledge about the charges. There are two types of charges that can be considered in the nature, right? Two types of charges mean two opposite natures of charges, right? One has a nature, right? The next one has the opposite nature of this, right? Normally in our day-to-day life, right, to indicate the opposite natures, right, we are using several terms, right? Because of that habit, right, we are normally indicating something differentiate from something, right, or which is opposite to each other, right? We are normally using the positive and the negative, the term positive and the negative, right? Now, if you consider some charges which is there in the nature, right, which are not positive, which has an opposite nature of some amount of charges, right? Some charges are there which has the opposite nature of the next one, right? Then we are calling one as positive and the next one as negative, right? This is not actual positive and actual negative. If you go to a substance, right, if you try to find the plus sign, it won't be there. Then minus sign, it won't be there, right? This is our use. Okay, for an example, what is this? Right, if I ask you what is this, you will say this is a chalk. Yes, this is a chalk. But since this chalk doesn't know, its name is chalk. No? It's our use, right? We are calling this as chalk, right? We put the name for this as chalk, right? The chalk itself doesn't know the name of it is chalk, right? The same as in the nature, there are some charges, there are some physical nature, right, which is known as charges, right, which has two opposite characters, right? One, some number of charges are there in the nature, those are very opposite to another number of charges, right? Therefore, we are calling one as positive and the next one as negative, right? And this negative is the normally we are saying that the term negative has been posed earlier, right? After that, only the opposite nature of the nature charges has been found. After that, we called this as positive. This is negative and this is positive, right? I think you will learn this in the chemistry in your earlier subjects, right? Then positive and the negative are going to be there. Now, this is not the actual sign. We are calling it as positive. We are calling it as negative. But it has an opposite, what? The natures, right? For an example, if you take positive nearby the positive, right? Those two charges has an ability of repel. If you take the negative with the negative, those two charges going to be repelled, right? If you take positive with the negative, both are going to be attracted, right? This is the knowledge that you have gained from about the charges in your grade 6 or so, right? This is not the knowledge that you are gaining in this chapter, right? I just remembered you, right? The positive and the positive going to repel, negative and the negative going to repel, positive and the negative going to attract, right? Now, these charges in the nature, if you go to the nature, it won't present alone, right? It cannot be present alone, right? Or it cannot move from one place to another place without any carriers, right? It need a carrier. With the carrier, the help of the carriers, right? This is trying to move, right? In your syllabus, according to your syllabus, for the positive, you have a type of carrier. For the negative, you are learning a type of another carrier, right? For the negative charges, we are learning the electrons as the charge carrier, right? And for the positive, we have known that the proton is the charge carriers of positive. For an example, if you take the positive, the protons, right? The charges, because of the charges, the proton is going to get a nature, right? Some characters, right? Which is opposite to the character, right, of the charges which has been carried by the electrons, right? It's going to be very opposite. Then the positive for the proton and the electron are not the charges; those are charge carriers. Then how much of charge is there in the proton? How much of charges are there in the electron? Right? If you take one electron, right, you can count the charges, right? It cannot be counted in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, but it has an idea. There is an idea to count the charges, how much of charges are there, right? It can be counted, but it's not presented in the counting values 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be given in a unit which is known as coulomb. Right? I think in the right, it will be measured in coulomb. You see U, I think. Right? If I am wrong, you change this. C coulomb. Right? It will be measured in coulomb. Right. Now, the proton and the electrons. Now you know what is electron and what is proton. This can be measured in the coulomb. Right? If you take an electron, 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 amount of coulomb of charges are present. Right? The amount of charges are present. Right? Which should be given in the term of coulomb. Right? If you take a positive, the proton, again it has the same amount of coulombs. Right? To show that this has the opposite amount of coulombs of the charges it present in the electron, we put a minus here. That's it. Right? This is not the actual minus. This is just the minus we are putting to indicate that the negative charges are present. Right? Therefore, then this is about the charges. Now you know what is charges. Where is the charges? Who are carrying the charges? Now, if you take a look at what a hydrogen atom, right? The hydrogen atom, take a hydrogen atom, right? In the hydrogen atom, in the nucleus, there will be one proton and no neutrons are going to be there, right? Oh, sorry, one neutron is going to be there, sorry, right? And an electron is going to be here. I think I'm correct, right? Hydrogen 1, hydrogen 1, 2, hydrogen 1, 3. Nah? Right. In the hydrogen 1, 1, no neutrons are there, right? In 1, 2, one neutron is going to be there, right? And 1, 3, it's okay. It's not the matter, right? We don't need to consider about it, right? It's in the chemistry, right? We take the proton. Okay, there is a proton and one electron is there, right? If you take the amount of charges present in this, is going to be 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, right? If you take the proton, in one proton, this amount of coulomb are there. Then both has the same amount of charges in the opposite values, right? In the opposite natures, right? Therefore, these two are going to make this hydrogen atom neutral. Neutral, right? The hydrogen atom is going to be neutral because here the electron carrying the charges, the amount of charges, right, same as the proton carry, right? Because of these two, the amount values are equal. It's going to get the neutral, but as a neutral substance, right? Then this electron is going to carry negative charges, right? This proton is going to carry positive charges. This is not the sign that the plus is going to be there in the proton. That is not the meaning of that. Right? I'm just indicating you this is going to carry the positive, is going to carry negative charges. Right? Now, by your knowledge, by your chemistry knowledge, right? If you remove this electron from this atom, right, then the hydrogen atom is going to get a positive nature, a plus nature, because this one proton neutralizes the one electron. If no electrons are there, then the proton and the charge of the proton is going to dominate this atom, right? Therefore, it's going to get hydrogen plus, right? Hydrogen plus. Now, think about the removing of electron. You know, if you want to remove the electron, you have to move this electron, right, across the several energy levels. No electrons are going to be there in the energy levels, but since if you want to take this electron to next energy level of the hydrogen, right, then you have to give energy, right? Therefore, if you give energy, right, this is going to be go for the higher level of energy levels, right? After that, it's going to leave the atom, the structure of that, right? This is what we are doing when you ionize this. Now, if you think about a substance that you have, like a comb, right? Like a comb, you take a comb, right? By rubbing the comb or combing your hair, right? You are making you are doing something like rubbing like this. No, when you comb your hair, right? By that, what you are doing is, right? For an example, if you take like this, if you comb for a while, right, and if you touch the comb, right, you will feel the comb has been increased temperature, right? If it is increasing the temperature, then some sort of energy has been used when you are combing, right? The heat energy or something, okay, right? That heat energy, right? That heat energy can be absorbed by the comb, right? And it can remove some electron, because if electron gets the energy, it's normally can be removed from the the substance, right? Then this can be easily removed. Once it gets removed, then this is going to get a positive nature, right? The removed electron is going to be there in the hair, right? Then hair, normally it's a neutral substance, right? By gaining the electron, it's going to get a negative nature, right? By combing your hair, you are making this comb as positive and you are making your hair as negative, right? Now, if you take this comb nearby some regiform pieces, right, which has been already charged or something, no, uncharged, no problem, right? If you take nearby the comb, nearby the regiform small balls, right, small balls, and not the big size balls, okay, right, small balls, right? If you take it nearby some small balls, right, this is going to be attracted. Why it has been attracted? If you take the positive nearby the the regiform balls, right? The regiform ball has positive and negative in their structure, right? If you take the positive nearby this, right, all the negatives are going to be attracted towards the positive. Then a negative nature is going to be concentrated nearby the positive. Then the positive and negative normally attract. It will be attracted, right? Therefore, this is going to be attracted towards the positive, right? Then the positive is going to attract this. Okay, right? This can be seen in the nature when we are doing something, right? For an example, if you iron clothes, right? After ironing it, right? If you take the ironed cloth nearby your hair, right? Hair will be attracted towards the clothes, because by ironing we are charging the the cloth, right? If after charging it, if you take nearby your hair is a very soft substance, right? Because of the softness, right, it is going to be attracted by the charges, by something happening to the charges like this, right? These all are happening, right? These all the observations are happening because of the charge which is not moving, right? Which is stationary, right? That's why we are calling this as static electricity, right? This amount of knowledge is there in your syllabus to understand about the static electricity. Okay, right? That's it for 19.1. Inshallah, we'll continue 19.2 the next video. Jazakumullah khair.